lot of emotions in the building, but he's focused on winning. The guy is laser focused. He is so competitive. Winning comes first.
Baylor wins the tip. Off to an 0-2 start in the Big 12 for the first time in 5 years. King, you were on that team in 2017, 2018 that went to the NIT. But talking with Baylor today, they feel like they are close. That shot from L.J. Cryer was not close, though, to start.
First off, thanks, Ted.
You're catching a stray a minute in.
For bringing up my losses. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you went to the NIT. That team went 8-10, by the way, 5 years ago. You go 8-10 in the Big 12 this year, you're probably making the tournament.
Yeah, this is the toughest that the Big 12 has ever been. There's no easy wins, and that's a great pass. Those two need to be big tonight if they want to walk out here with a dub.
Two Big 12 Player of the Year candidates hooking up on the lob, Markquis Nowell and Keontae Johnson. Kansas State fresh off the win over Texas on Tuesday, a school record 116 points in regulation. Now a steal by Naquan Tomlin. Pass fumbled by Abayomi Iola and a turnover out to Baylor.
This is a great pass right here. Keontae Johnson just showing one of the many strengths of his game.
A 5'8 dynamo who leads that Kansas State attack. Jalen Bridges, the West Virginia transfer. Off the mark, he has not hit from long distance this year, just 21%. Johnson, third in the Big 12 in scoring, and Keontae Johnson has his second bucket.
And that's an area where Baylor just has to be better. When you look at the last 4 years, they have been a top 25 defense. This year, they're not even top 50. They have to guard better, and that right there is a perfect example of one of the weaknesses they have on this defensive side.
Yeah, King, Scott Drew told us earlier today, the effort just is not acceptable right now on defense. Flagler, the drop-off, Lothamba puts it in, plus the foul. Baylor could use some more interior production as well. That's a start from the senior Thamba. So Thamba completes the three-point play. Nowell up the floor. Iola, who collected the personal at one end, is fouled at the other by Thamba.
Yeah, Bebe has been playing exceptionally well. I mean, averaging 12 and 6 in the last two games in conference. Ever since the Gesson has been out, Bebe has really stepped up to the plate. Coach Tang preaches the next man mentality, and he has definitely done that.
Iola from Ibadan, Nigeria, a sixth-year senior. This is the first free throw. Transferred from Hofstra. Was at Arkansas a couple of years ago, team that went to the Elite Eight and lost to Baylor. Desi Sills, his teammate now at K-State, was also on that Arkansas team 2 years ago.
One thing Coach Tang did a great job of is getting guys with experience. Not just experience, getting guys with actual minutes on the court that are used to producing at a high level.
Here is Keontae George, the fabulous freshman, one of the highest-ranked recruits in Baylor history, working against the senior Keontae Johnson, who blocked his shot. So key on key. We'll see that plenty at both ends tonight.
Great defense right here, one-on-one. Keontae Johnson getting the stop. You know, one of the knocks on his game is he's a great talent on the offensive side, but sometimes defensively he doesn't give the full effort. Well, right there, impressive block on an elite scorer.
George had a season-high 27 Wednesday in the loss to TCU on just 13 shots. 10 to shoot here. Bridges. Thamba lost it, out of bounds to Kansas State.
That's a tough spot to put your big in. 3 seconds on the clock. He has to take 1 or 2 dribbles. Kansas State is good at getting their hands and getting deflections on the ball. That's a tough spot to put Flo Thamba in right there.
Nowell catch and shoot. That's a three ball for Markquis Nowell. And there's a flop as well, though. And remember, this year, no warning for the flop. That would mean one free throw for Baylor. So Nowell hits the three, but called for a flop as well.
Yeah, you know, I really don't know how I feel about this flop rule. I think it's really a judgment call. Let's take a look at this. He fell down. I think it's a judgment call of referee, and I'm not a big fan of this rule.
Again, they're trying to take this out of the game. I heard Fran Fraschilla earlier today on the TCU-Iowa State game. Mike Miles did something similar. It was not called.
Yeah.
And Fran's point is, hey, they're trying to take this out of the game. So they've upped it from a warning in previous years to now the Class B technical foul.
Yeah, but it's just too much of a judgment call on the referee. So the referee thinks you did it. If he doesn't think you did it, I don't like the rule.
So an 11-3 Kansas State lead. George swatted by Naquan Tomlin. Tomlin at 6'10", a freak athlete for Kansas State. His first year with the Wildcats.
Oh,
Johnson puts it in. He says Baylor's too small, and Johnson's got a quick 6. Timeout Baylor. So in Jerome Tang's homecoming, his team gets off to a blistering start. So 13-4, Kansas State with the lead, not phased in the least. You know, Tang told us today, right, got to handle the emotion. His team is on a roll. They don't care about the homecoming stuff. They're just trying to go 3-0 in the league.
And you know, one thing that, as a player, whenever your coach is going through a moment like this, you're playing for K-State, your coach is coming back to the school that he built.
Yeah.
As a player, you're fired up for your coach because at the end of the day, that's the guy you're riding for. You know, you don't want him to walk out of here with a loss. Whatever you have to do in order to produce the win, that's what you have to do. So the K-State players are just as fired up as Coach Tang, maybe even more because they know they cannot let their coach down with the loss today.
Kansas State off to their best start in 13 years. In 2010, that team went to the Elite Eight under Frank Martin. Jerome Tang, in his first year, this team was picked to finish last in the Big 12, and yet 2-0 with wins over ranked teams in West Virginia and Texas, and another opportunity here tonight. So we have clearly had all kinds of issues with the score. Not just on the score bug on your screen, but the scoreboard here at Farrell Center. 10-4, Kansas State on top. Here's Cryer for 3. That's his second miss from the outside, and a foul inside. They'll go against Desi Sills of Kansas State, his first. Flagler's pass tipped, but Cryer takes it in. George catch and shoot over the smaller Nowell. Thamba the offensive rebound and a foul against Kansas State.
Now this could be where the game is won or lost. Baylor is a top 10 in the country in offensive rebounding. Defensively, Kansas State is smaller. With Gesson out, they really don't have a true 5 outside of Bebe. Right now, when you look on the court, they have Naquan Tomlin, they have Ismael Massoud, 2 guys who are perimeter players truthfully. So the rebounding battle can be key and determine this game tonight.
Thamba missing the first free throw, though. Last weekend, the Big 12 opener against West Virginia, K-State gave up 21 offensive rebounds, won the game in overtime. But that is an issue. David Gesson was on crutches at shoot-around today, turned his right ankle the day before the West Virginia game last weekend, and there's no timeline for his return.
But on the flip side, when you play this small ball lineup that Kansas State is playing, it can cause mismatch problems for you.
Cryer the steal. Keontae George with the left-handed finish. Baylor started 1 of 7, but the steal and the score can remedy that. Now another steal. Keontae George is fouled by Keontae Johnson, sending us to our first official timeout George will be at the line when we return.
Keontae Johnson just makes the game so easy. Bucket getter from all three levels.
Well, the transformation at Baylor under Scott Drew has been nothing short of extraordinary. Ranked in only 2 games over the first 97 years. Scott Drew gets hired in 2003. We know about the tragedy and scandal enveloping the program at the time. 9 NCAA tournament appearances in the last 13 seasons. And they are just one of 4 programs ranked number 1 4 times in the last 6 years. Of course, this journey culminated with the national championship in Indianapolis in 2021. Jerome Tang and Scott Drew helping lift this program to these heights, and now on opposite benches today with Jerome Tang in his first year as the head coach at Kansas State. Scott Drew knew this day would come at some point. He part of him probably wishes that Tang wasn't in the Big 12, so he didn't have to see him twice a year, but that's just how it goes.
Well, the interesting thing is every single year I was here, and every single year after I left, Coach Tang had opportunities.
Yeah.
He had countless opportunities to leave and go elsewhere. But I would always ask him, Coach, are you staying? Coach, are you staying? And he said, I'm just waiting on the right opportunity. Sometimes he would go in for interviews, and his vision would be too big for the school. So the school would be like, we're not on the same page because I don't see our program ever reaching those heights. So he said, it's just not the school for me. So he stayed patient and kept telling me, King, one day this moment will come for me and I will have an opportunity. And he finally found that in Kansas State.
Says it's a place that has won under multiple coaches, awfully attractive, and in the best league in America. 1-point game. Keontae Johnson going reverse side for 2 more.
Oh, my
Johnson with 8 in the first 5 minutes.
Whenever Johnson has the ball isolated, you must send a double. He is too good, too hard to stop one-on-one.
That pass found its way to Jalen Bridges inside. So Baylor back to within 1. Desi Sills a quick trigger. George the floater, good. Keontae George, the 7th leading scorer in the Big 12 as a freshman.
Now, this is the battle of the Keontaes. I mean, Keontae George, we know what type of scorer he is. He is one of the best scorers in America, pound for pound. Not talking about numbers, just the way he gets his buckets. One of the best scorers in the country.
Nowell, no look to Tomlin for the dunk. Markquis Nowell, 2nd in the nation in assists. His vision is off the charts. Flagler inside, and Josh Ojanwuna crushes the rim. Baylor back in front. Ojanwuna has really given Baylor big minutes the last couple of weeks.
11-7 last game. He's probably the most improved player this season. His ability to be able to catch the ball and be able to actually make post moves. He couldn't do that at the beginning when he first got to Baylor.
Massoud off the feed from Johnson. And Massoud is fouled by Jalen Bridges.
This is just a great find. Markquis Nowell, one of the best passers, if not the best passer in America.
So a couple of free throws for Massoud, the Wake Forest transfer. Keontae Johnson with that pass. You know, with what happened to Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills earlier this week, it just underlines how remarkable the recovery of Keontae Johnson truly is. He went through that, collapsing on the court with Florida a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, everybody saw what happened, and prayers and thoughts go out to Damar Hamlin and his family. And nobody in this world can probably relate more than Keontae Johnson. What happened through him, what happened with him, we all knew he was talented at Florida, but like you said, he recovered, he's bouncing back, and maybe playing some of the best basketball of his career. He's definitely an NBA player, and you'll see him in the league next year.
Nowell poked it away, but it'll stay with Baylor, 10 to shoot. Yeah, we talked with a couple of NBA scouts who are here, and not just to see Keontae Johnson, also Keontae George and others. They said, oh, Keontae Johnson is firmly back on our radar now.
Yeah, he's back on the radar. Another guy they're here to see is Naquan Tomlin. And at 6'10", what he can do with the ball offensively and defensively, his potential. He has the biggest NBA upside out of everybody on the court. Naquan Tomlin does.
That pass at the underside of the backboard. He had something to do with a play near the backside of the backboard at Iowa State, Oklahoma earlier this week. Something that didn't get called. Still Baylor ball here. And Langston Love with the friendly bounce. Langston Love has been a different player since he shed the knee brace last month.
Yeah, I would like to see him get going because he's so talented. Last year before the injury, before he went down, he was playing arguably the best basketball on the whole team. So I want to see him get back, get more comfortable, because there's times where he's very hesitant, and you can see he's just not 100%. So the more comfortable he gets, the better this Baylor team will be, and oh my goodness.
A logo three from Markquis Nowell. Unlimited range.
That's just pure confidence. After you produce a game like you did 36 points against UT, you will shoot those shots. He is playing strictly off of confidence.
He's playing like he's 6'5" instead of 5'8". Love for three at the other end. So back and forth we go here in the first half. Sixth lead change of the night.
That's a great sign. We talked about him trying to get more confident. This is how he builds it up.
Cam Carter coming off a career night against Texas. He had 17 in Austin. This is a long two. Kansas State back in front. Now K-State looking for a stop. Baylor has hit their last 6 shots.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth trading buckets. Eventually somebody is going to have to get a stop.
Now, Jerome Tang said earlier today, hey, I don't mind playing another high-scoring game. We can put up something close to 116 like we did Tuesday night. 5 to shoot here. L.J. Cryer gives it up. Dale Bonner off target. And a foul against Baylor. And a timeout here in Waco. Jerome Tang back in town. His team up by a point. .103, Kansas State with the win. And no, that was not in 2, 3, 4 overtimes. That was in regulation. 3 different Wildcats tied or set their career high. Markquis Nowell with 36. Keontae Johnson at 28, Cam Carter with 17, and yeah, it was horns down from K-State as they moved to 2-0 in the Big 12.
Yeah, that was an impressive win. I mean, first off, you give up 103, but to still win by putting up 116, that's extremely impressive, and you're doing it in an arena where it's not easy to win. The way that Texas built that arena, the way that the fans are now that they bought into that, even despite what's going on, that's not an easy place to win. Texas is an extremely talented team. So hats off to Coach Tang, going in there, believing in his players, and pulling off the win.
Now Texas rebounded by giving up 70 fewer points today in a win over Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Baylor with the steal. Caleb Lohner, the BYU transfer, misses. Thumba with the putback and the foul. His second three-point play chance of the half.
See, this is where I think Baylor can take it up to a next level. I mean, we know how important these 3 guards are. But when Flo Thamba is playing the way that he is playing right now, when he's crashing the glass hard, when he's giving you something on the defensive side, Baylor goes to a different level. And they start looking like the Baylor in the past few years. Flo Thamba has to play well and has to give them something on the glass.
7 points, 2 rebounds for Thamba. He said he was really upset with his efforts on Wednesday night. Thamba with the deflection there, out of bounds, but last touch by Baylor. Still Kansas State ball. Scott Drew told us, I think we're going to see a different Flo Thamba tonight. So far, we are.
Yeah, being super critical. I mean, Flo is a guy who I played with my senior year. He's a 5th-year senior. A lack of effort should never be the case. You should always, every single time you lace up your shoes and step on the court, you should never have to worry about his effort. He has to be the emotional leader and carry this team.
Markquis Nowell is fouled by Adam Flagler. And Nowell will be at the line. Now, Thamba making his 79th consecutive start for Baylor, the lone starter remaining from the national championship team. And also remember last year, King, as Nowell hits the first, when Thamba raised his production after the injury to Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua, averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds down the stretch, gave them even more than he had before.
Yeah, he had no choice because he was the only answer. He knew if they wanted to see any success, he had to be that guy. He had to step it up and raise his level up. You know, Flo Thamba almost reminds me of Perry Ellis. It's like they've been in school for forever. That Perry Ellis or Drew Timme. Like, are you ever going to leave college?
Adam Flagler right down the chute from downtown. Baylor with the lead. Flagler second in the Big 12, hitting 48% from three. Johnson on the drive. Flagler rips it away.
And that's a perfect example of what you have to do when Keontae Johnson has the ball. You must be able to load up and help. He's way too good to play one-on-one. Great play right there from Adam Flagler.
Flagler also on that national championship team a couple of years ago as the fourth guard. Jared Butler called him the unsung hero. Flagler working against Johnson. 5 to shoot. Love gives it up. Flagler got past Johnson, and the scoop doesn't drop. Nowell, the lead pass. Iola running the floor, and he is rewarded. Nowell found him.
Yeah, Baylor has to do a better job of getting back in transition. That was one of the key emphasis that Coach Drew and his staff had in practice. The way TCU was able to kill them in transition, they have to do a better job, and that's one of the examples. You have to be able to get back.
Flagler feeds it to Lohner. This is a three. Caleb Lohner with just his third three of the year.
That's a great ball screen read from Adam Flagler. Everybody knows the level of score he is. Well, the question coming into the season was, can he be a great passer? And Aquan Tomlin just showing why NBA scouts love him.
How about that answer? At 6'10", he can step out. 11 of 34 from three this year. Player who did not play high school basketball, went the junior college route before joining K-State. Cryer, no. Tomlin to Nowell in the corner. Give it to him. Markquis Nowell with his third three. Kansas State retakes the lead. We have had 10 lead changes in the first half. Now L.J. Cryer turns it over. So 2 ties and 10 lead changes in the first half between a team in Baylor picked to win the league again and Kansas State, the team picked to finish last. And yet it's K-State at 2-0 coming in and Baylor at 0-2. That's the Big 12 for you.
That's the Big 12, and I think we're on pace for another high-scoring game, Ted. The way these two teams are scoring the ball right now, we could see a game in the 80s or the 90s.
K-State has hit their last 6 shots. They're 11 of 12 in the half. 5 to shoot. Johnson. Around Ojonwuna. Just throws it up. Tomlin there on the weak side. Couldn't put it back, and Bridges tracks it down.
And that's another area where Ojonwuna has gotten better. His ball screen defense has improved almost as much as his offensive production.
Oh, Ojonwuna misses from close range. Here comes Sills, all alone. Left it short.
That's one of those shots as a basketball player, you just had a little bit too much time. If you shoot it in rhythm, it's good.
This is in rhythm from Flagler. It's a three with a foul on Tomlin. And a chance for 4 from Adam Flagler. Baylor back in front at the official timeout.
Adam Flagler. You better know where he is at all times, because if not, he can knock it down. He is offensively, but I'm most impressed with his defense. He's shown he can make plays, but defensively, he's really gotten after it, and he just has a knack for putting the ball in the hole and does it as well as anybody in America.
Yeah, King, you have known George since his high school days, growing up in Louisville, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and here he is as a college freshman, one of the top-scoring freshmen in a major conference. You see what Brandon Miller's doing at Alabama, G.G. Jackson at South Carolina. George is right there, a first-round pick, perhaps a lottery pick when the summer comes around.
And Ted, what a lot of people don't know is Keontae George's dad is probably better than him right now in this moment.
Are you serious?
Keontae George's dad is playing professional basketball overseas. His name is Jason Sigurd. He can really hoop. I got to play against him a few times in Dallas. If you pick up, and he told me Keontae was his son, and I was impressed because, sir, you're still able to hoop at a high level. And I asked him.
How old is he?
He's about 38, I want to say, 37, 38. And I asked him, if you played your son one-on-one, who wins? He said, I win easily. It's not even close. I'm too smart. I'm a veteran. And he was so serious. So I would love to see that one-on-one matchup. If you ask Keontae, he said he's going to win. So I would love to see that one-on-one matchup between the two.
Adam Flagler capped off the 4-point play for Baylor. 2-point Bears lead. Kick ball here for Kansas State, and the shot clock resets to 20.
You know, his dad is so good. They scrimmage. His overseas team scrimmaged the Thunder this year in the preseason.
Okay.
They lost by like 25 or 30, but he had 41 against the Thunder.
Oh, my.
His dad is legit. That's where Keontae gets his bucket getting from.
Markquis Nowell has been a bucket in the first half. 11 points, 6 assists. The step back over George. Not this time. But Iola with the offensive rebound. Massoud for 3. He cans it.
Bebe, that just shows how important Bebe has been for this Kansas State team. He gives them an offensive rebounding threat that they didn't have before him. They had Gasson, but without Gasson, they needed this threat, and Bebe has stepped up to the occasion.
Flagler weaving through traffic. That went off the top of the backboard and in. Will it count because it hit the top of the backboard?
There's no way they can count that.
No. Once you hit the top,
there's no way
it's
to count that one.
Basically out of bounds. Oh, and now it's an offensive foul against Baylor. Wow.
Let's take a look at this. No, if you're falling to the side, I do not think it is an offensive foul.
Oh, man.
It's a better angle. I don't think he hit him with the chest. He tried to step by him and hit him in the shoulder. I don't think that's an offensive foul. I disagree with the call.
Second personal on Flagler. Massoud the floater. Air ball. Rebound Iola again on the offensive glass. Shot clock didn't reset though. 6 on the timer. Desi Sills. Nowell so quick. Shovels it in off the window. Even Markquis Nowell can't believe it.
Sometimes as a basketball player, you just have to get lucky.
Nowell with 13. Pressure. And the whistle blows. Foul goes against Cam Carter. That's his first.
We have to take another look at this bucket because I don't even know what he did right there. He had no intention of that going in, Ted. He just threw it up there and wished for the best, and it just happened to go in. Nonetheless, that's a tough bucket.
Hands out. Okay, I'll take it. Sure.
You just have one of those nights. When you're confident, good things happen for you.
Smallest player in the Big 12, and he's one of the very best in the league as well.
Yeah, and he's improved.
Yeah.
I think last year when he played beside Nigel Pack, a lot of times he would take the back seat. Nigel Pack would have the ball so much, would try to create him, was so ball dominant. Keontae Johnson is a great player, and he's scoring, but he's not as ball dominant. He allows Markquis Nowell to be able to dominate the basketball, but he had to share it last year with Nigel Pack, which I think limited his production.
How about the play of Jalen Bridges? He saves it, by throwing the ball off Desi Sills, and it's Baylor basketball.
Jalen Bridges has to be that guy. He has to be the glue guy. He has to be a junkyard dog. Because right now he's not scoring. Yeah, it's just the fact of the matter. He is not helping them offensively. He had 2 threes last game, but other than that, he's really struggling from the field from the 3. But the one thing I think he can do is play defense. He can give them that toughness, bring the energy, and can help them win. He can contribute in other ways other than just scoring the basketball.
George pulling up against Carter. He's fouled, and it counts. Keontae George is a natural-born scorer.
That right there is an NBA-level scorer. Look at this right here. As soon as he feels the bump, as soon as you get your hand in there, he is rising up. He's waiting for you to touch him, and as soon as you touch him, he rises up and draws the foul. That is James Harden-esque. That is an NBA-level move right there.
Again, many NBA scouts in attendance. For good reason. They will be here to see George plenty of times this year. And Baylor reclaims the lead with the three-point play by George. 13 lead changes in the first half. Carter lost the handle. Dale Bonner with the strip. George again, 3-ball. And ripped down by Sills.
That's an impressive rebound right there by Sills. You got a 6'7" and 6'9" down there with you, and a 6'3" gets it.
Carter steps into a 3. Iola, the putback. Not in there, and out of bounds. Last touch by Baylor.
Right now, if you're Baylor, you know there's one guy on the court. When a shot goes up, you have to put a body on Bay. He's the one that's causing chaos, causing problems. Look at this right here. He's keeping plays alive, misses the layup, but still keeps it alive, and now it's out on Baylor. You have to block him out and know where he is when the shot goes up.
See K-State +4 on the glass. 8 to shoot. Nowell got around George. Iola on the block. Nowell in the forest. Wow. And Tyke Green just before the shot clock buzzer puts it in.
Wow, I'm saying that play right there belongs to Bay. He had the opportunity to go one-on-one, knew his game, knew that's not what he does, so he kicked it back out and let Nowell make a play. Smart play by Bay.
George off balance, hit the deck, and he still scores. Green, wild shot. Lohner comes up with it for Baylor. Baylor shooting 52%, K-State just under 64%. George the floater. Lohner with the offensive rebound. Bonner inside. Thamba lost it going up. Johnson fumbled it, still let it fly. And a foul called against Kansas State. It'll go against Tyke Green. We'll step aside. 15 lead changes in the half. Baylor by 1.
Did you? Impressive conference start out of anybody in the conference. Nobody's been more impressive than this young man right here, Markquis Nowell.
Again, you bring up Curry, the only Division I player to match or surpass these numbers in a 2-game stretch in the last 25 years is Curry at Davidson. Nothing against Steph Curry. His 2 games came against Guilford and James Madison. Markquis Nowell did it against West Virginia and Texas.
That's impressive. He's extremely confident
and he's closing in on another double-double already. 13 points, 7 assists in the first half.
He's an elite passer. I mean, there's a point guard for St. Louis, Yuri.
Yep.
And outside of him, I think Markquis Nowell is the best passer in college basketball.
Keontae George at the line for Baylor, shooting the 1-and-1. The foul was on Tyke Green before the timeout. And George splits the pair. George with 13 to lead Baylor. 2-point Bears lead. Keontae Johnson started hot for Kansas State. Nowell, 3-ball. Lohner pulls it down. How about Lohner bringing it up? Skilled 4-man for Baylor. Thamba, nice move inside to put it home. Flo Thamba with 9 points for the Bears.
That's a great awareness right there from Flo Thamba. Caught the pass, located where the defense was, swung the ball over the top for an easy layup. That's great awareness from the big fella.
It's a season-high 9 points for Thamba. Nowell doesn't drop. Love on the break. Langston Love, the tough. Euro. Oh, off balance, contorting his body. He does draw the foul. It's against Sills, his second. Langston Love, an 83% foul shooter, has been ramping up steadily after he tore his ACL in a preseason scrimmage last year. Started the year with a knee brace, dropped it December 6th. That's gone. The minutes restriction is gone. And Langston Love is starting to give Baylor the production that they need.
Yeah, you can tell at times he's still hesitant, but right there, that's an impressive play. To make a hard cut like that and to plant the way he planted is a good sign, especially without the knee brace.
Fouls on Keontae George. His first. So Baylor has its largest lead thanks to a 7-0 run. Jerome Tang back in Waco after spending the last 19 years as Scott Drew's top assistant. Johnson in the paint. Keontae Johnson, just a ball of muscle.
I love what Coach Tang does right there. Whenever he feels like his back is against the wall, he needs a bucket. He always draws up the isolation play for Keontae Johnson and make you stay, make you stop him.
George, that would have been a long 2. Lohner, the offensive rebound, and an offensive foul.
It's a good rebound by Lohner and dropped his shoulder. Whenever you're bigger than the defender, typically you lower your shoulder and they fall back. It's automatically an offensive foul.
Desi Sills hit the deck. Johnson, the blow-by against Thamba, and he lays it home. Keontae Johnson, back-to-back baskets. Bonner trying to get past Nowell. 10 to shoot. Skip pass. Nowell almost intercepted it. Couldn't corral it. Out of bounds to Baylor. 7 on the shot clock. So Cryer returns for Baylor, and Keontae George gets a breather.
So this is a lineup. Don't have Keontae George in. Don't have Adam Flagler in. Where will the scoring for Baylor come from? Langston Love has been playing exceptionally well. I think he has to be aggressive right now. Him and LJ Cryer. LJ Cryer is another player who's been really quiet tonight, and he's been so up and down during the season. I think it's his time right now to be aggressive.
Yeah, Flagler sitting with the 2 personals. 5 on the timer now. Cryer has to create. Out to Bridges for 3. Baylor loves to see that. Bridges has really struggled from the outside this year. Nowell with an answer, a triple of his own. Markquis Nowell, 4 threes in the half. He's got 16.
I just love the confidence. Baylor's on a run. Isolate you right there in the corner.
Oh, Dale Bonner taking it strong. Couldn't finish the dunk.
I love the confidence of Markquis Nowell.
Nowell, the scoop, good. Nowell with 18. We are tied at 47.
He's not afraid of the moment. He is extremely tough. The poise that he is playing with. Look at this. This is a heads-up play right here. The clock was at 40. Coach Drew goes over this. In practice, we work on this scenario. Take the last shot. Do not touch the ball until it gets to 30. That is great awareness from Jalen Bridges and Dale Bonner.
Did Jerome Tang want his team to pressure the ball to make them pick it up there?
Yeah, but if you would have picked it up, he still would have had about 35, so you only would have had about 5 seconds. But that's great awareness from Dale Bonner and Jalen Bridges.
Slight difference between the clocks. Bridges throws it up there, and a foul. It's an offensive foul against Bridges. His second. So Kansas State will get the opportunity to take the final shot. Sills brings it up. Timeout. Kansas State with 2.7 left. So they can inbound at half court. And no surprise what the Baylor crowd here in Waco thought of that offensive foul call against Jalen Bridges.
Now, based off of first look with no replay, I think they made the right call. I think Jalen Bridges hit him with the shoulder, hit him in his chest. He beat him to the spot, and that was a charge. Based off of first look.
What does he think? Well, there you go. Make a sign.
Shout out to Ashley Hodge with the sign right there.
Oh, look at you. You know his name.
Yeah, Ashley Hodge means a lot to the Baylor program.
Of course you do.
Based off of the first look with no replay.
Yeah.
We can take a look at the replay, but based off of first look, let's take a look at this. You hit him in the chest. The shoulder to the chest, that is a charge. Especially when it's a smaller defender. We talked about this earlier. Smaller defenders always get the benefit of the doubt.
What a game, right? Yeah. 15 lead changes, 4 ties in the first half. Markquis Nowell closing in on his 5th points, assist, double-double of the year. Keontae George has been spectacular for Baylor. And K-State will have a chance here, 2.7 left, to go into the locker room with the lead.
Yeah, I know at halftime, knowing both of these guys, Coach Tang is a defensive first guy. Coach Drew loves defense as well, but he fed off Coach Tang when he was here. But going into halftime, neither one of those guys are pleased with their defense. To give up 47 and both teams are shooting over 50% from the field, absolutely unacceptable. I know that will be a point of emphasis. We have to get stops in the second half.
Keontae Johnson to inbound for K-State.
Right here, you have to look for Markquis Nowell.
Trying to get free from Langston Love. Nowell, the floater, doesn't drop. And we are tied at the break here in Waco with Jerome Tang back in town.
I think we have to. We talked about it earlier, how Baylor typically is a top 25 defense, and this year they're a little bit over 60. Somebody has to step up. I think Flo Thamba has to be that leader for Baylor, be that catalyst, and that's just too easy right there. That's way too easy. If you're going to trap the screen, you have to make sure that the guard stays in the trap. He cannot escape it and get around.
Nowell with assist number 9 to start the second half, as Abayomi Iola, making his 3rd straight start for the injured David Gasson, put it home. Johnson the deflection, and Keontae Johnson comes up with it, barreling against Flagler, and he scores. Johnson with 14. You saw Adam Flagler backing up two personal fouls. Didn't want to pick up number 3 so early in the second half.
He's a smart player. He knows that he's so valuable when he's on the court. He cannot miss this action in the second half. His team needs him.
George leads Baylor with 13. The preseason freshman of the year in the Big 12. Matched up against Keontae Johnson. Thamba the offensive board. Thamba can't get it to go. Iola defending. Bridges kept it alive. Cryer for 3. George comes up with it in a foul against Kansas State.
Touched on it in the first half. Baylor is a top 10 offensive rebounding team. Right there, you saw them get 3 offensive boards. This could be key in the second half.
9 offensive rebounds now for Baylor, King. And yeah, they rebound. Baylor does 37% of their own misses. That's first in the Big 12 and top 10 in the nation. George guarded by the taller Tomlin now. Oh, and it's an offensive foul. Tomlin taking the charge. Second on George. Now you see the numbers there again. K-State has not been good closing out possessions defensively. West Virginia crushed them on the glass, especially in the offensive end last Saturday. Baylor's starting to do it tonight. Nowell the lob. Oh, it hit the front of the rim instead of the hands of Iola. Flagler curls it in with the left hand.
This is good pace right there by Flagler. He saw that flow was ceiling and that he could go to the other side of the rim and get an easy layup. That's good patience and good pace.
What a job Adam Flagler is doing as the primary point guard now that James Akinjo has moved on.
Yeah, that was the biggest question coming into the season for Flagler. Are you able to play the one? Can you make your teammates better? Can you create offense? We know you can score, but can you create offense? And talking to Davion Mitchell, one of the best defenders I've ever seen, Cam Carter, oh my goodness, picking up where he left off last game. Talking to Davion Mitchell, he said Adam Flagler is top 3 hardest guys he's ever had to guard.
Wow.
His pace, the way his shiftiness, he's extremely hard to guard.
From the Presbyterian Blue Hose to the Baylor Bears. Flagler, a laser pass to Thamba for 2.
That's just right there an example of his playmaking. Coming off the ball screen, seeing flow roll, that's great playmaking and great awareness.
Thamba with a season-high 11. Nowell up top. That's how they started the game. Nowell to Johnson.
Now that's just too easy. That's one of those plays that when the game is over with tomorrow, when you're in the film session, Coach Drew is going to clip up and he's going to chew somebody out because that's too easy. There was no offense even ran. He just spun, and that's an easy lob.
Cryer against the big man Iola. Got the mismatch, and Cryer buries it. Put Iola on skates.
That's a tough move. The reverse pivot to the jumper.
Nowell swatted by Flagler. Out of bounds. Still K-State ball.
Right here, now underneath out of bounds. Coach Tang talked about it in the shoot-around, and look at this block right here. Adam Flagler can be that level of scorer. Underneath out of bounds, they talked about it. They talked about slipping twice.
Nowell off the screen from Bebe Iola. Trying to maneuver past Flagler. Johnson, the extra feed, and Iola puts it in. Nice ball movement, and Johnson with the awareness. At this end, Baylor has made their last 3 shots. And a foul against Thamba. Sending us to a timeout, so Flo Thamba with his second.
This is just great ball movement. Keontae Johnson, known as a scorer, but my man can drop dimes too.
At least you're not like my buddy Paul Biancardi on the ESPN high school basketball games, who put it above his eyebrows yesterday on ESPN2. That was glorious. I think I'm just going to keep the eye black on for the rest of the game. I'm seeing things so clearly. 6 to shoot here, loose ball. Tomlin hit the deck, and out of bounds. Yeah, eye black's staying on. I'm just keeping it on the whole game.
Ted, you're going to get escorted out this building pretty soon.
I don't think anybody has noticed yet. Here, let me turn around. Yeah.
Just don't turn around, Ted.
I just got a nasty look from a Baylor fan. What is that? What are you doing? So Baylor ball down by 5. Yeah, it's my game face. I'm in my game face, and I'm supporting the Big 12 here. Langston Love, 3-ball. That's a swish. Big shot from Langston Love.
And that's what he can do. He has stepped up tonight. I mean, L.J. Cryer has been really quiet. Adam Flagler has scored every now and then, but Langston Love has been that guard, that spark off the bench that has hit timely shots and kept Baylor in this ball game.
Love missed a couple of games with the concussion, returned on Wednesday. He's got 10 points tonight. Oh, Flagler, the quick hands against Carter, and a foul against Flagler. Oh, the crowd's going to love that. It's Flagler's third.
Let's take a look at this right here. They're fighting for the ball. He gets his hands on it. That's a great defensive play.
I think it was when he was holding his right arm there just for a moment.
So the push at the end, the small push,
yeah,
I can see what he called. But to me, it looked like Cam Carter initiated more contact than Flagler did.
And I believe we've got a technical foul here as well against Baylor. Nowell is at the line all alone, hitting a couple of free throws, and yes, fouls on the technical foul is on the Baylor bench, arguing that personal foul that went against Adam Flagler. So 2 points, the free throws from Nowell, and now the ball for K-State.
Adam Flagler has to be careful right now, okay? You got the third foul. You cannot pick up the fourth because you have to go to the bench. So you have to do a great job of playing without fouling.
Carter, a blur to the rim, and he lays it home.
You know, we've talked about confidence and how confident Markquis Nowell is and how confident Keontae Johnson is. Well, Cam Carter, after last game, his confidence is slowly growing, and I think he can make a huge impact offensively for this team.
Now bookmark this moment. The technical, Nowell, 2 free throws, Carter the layup, and now a foul against Kansas State, and Iola his second. Kansas State has matched its largest lead. Now Scott Drew facing not just his former assistant, forget longtime friends, they're brothers going head-to-head tonight. Bridges off the mark. Scott Drew and Jerome Tang on opposite sides for the first time ever. Nowell the drive and kick. Tomlin hit one in the first half. Not here.
You know, sometimes this Baylor team tends to settle for too many threes. They need to be able to get downhill and create.
Flagler the step back offline. Johnson couldn't come up with it. Bridges does, and he's fouled. With Johnson and Thamba underneath the basket, and the foul's against Iola, so that's number 3 now on Bebe. And K-State already shorthanded inside. David Gesson on crutches after injuring his ankle last week. Iola making his 3rd straight start. Now with 3 personals, and Bridges is at the line. Now you see David Gesson there on the bench in the boot. No timetable for his return. Tang says, hey, it's just day to day, but again, you got to get out of the boot first.
My man is in the boot.
It's not day to day. We're all day to day.
With Bebe out,
yeah.
Ojan Wuna in the game, Caleb Lohner about to come in the game. That is Baylor's best offensive rebounding front court, their best lineup when it comes to offensive rebounding. Let's pay attention to the glass now, the offensive glass.
Ismael Massoud right down the chute. Massoud in the game for Iola. He's a stretch 5.
The time Adam Flagler needs to be aggressive. He needs to be that guy for Baylor right now.
Largest lead of the night. Ojan Wuna blocked by the underside of the rim. Johnson doesn't go. Love with the rebound. Bonner the drop-off, and this time it falls for Ojan Wuna.
Good pass right there from Bonner, and Bonner's a guy who I think has the potential to be able to help Baylor offensively, just hasn't done it yet. Still trying to find his footing.
Carter picked up his dribble. 10 to shoot for Nowell, who's got 20 points and 10 assists. Against the bigger Bridges, Nowell draws the foul. And Bridges with number 3.
It's just so hard to guard a guy who was 5'8" and extremely quick. That was one of the biggest things I struggle with as a defender. Having to guard smaller guards. Right there, Jalen Bridges, you have the length. Give him a step. Take a step back. If he shoots the 3, be able to contest. Because right now you're too close. And he's so short, the shortest man typically wins. And his ability to be able to open you up and just drive right there and drive the gap, that's extremely hard to guard. You have to be able to give him a step for Jalen Bridges.
And King, interesting here now with Nowell and Keontae Johnson getting a breather. Where does the offense come from for K-State? 5 to shoot. Will it come from Carter? Ojan Wuna with the big rebound. Bonner, the sidestep. Ojan Wuna blocked, got it back, and he puts it home. Ojan Wuna working hard inside. It's amazing the strides he has made as a freshman.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. I mean, gets the ball tipped, relocates, finds the ball, his hands to be able to catch the ball and go straight up. He has made great strides.
Ten on the timer. Massoud, dangerous pass, out of bounds to Baylor. A timeout. Baylor down by 4, second half, looking for their first Big 12 win of the year.
High-level finish. Go through contact, does not faze him. Gets the ball up in the air and one. This is a high-level finish.
Last year at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, he had a game on ESPN in which he scored 40 points on 23 shots. And against high-level competition, it was a double overtime game. George sent the game to overtime and to double overtime with 3s at the buzzer. Oh, big 3 here from Keontae Johnson, just as Baylor had drawn to within a couple. Johnson with 19. Bonner blocked by Tomlin, out of bounds. George was known as the best pure scorer in the class of 2022 at the high school level. And he has shown that as one of the best freshmen in the nation in college basketball. Love, no on the drive, and a foul inside against Kansas State. It's against Tyke Green. That's his second. And the 15th foul. Yeah, Nowell and Johnson didn't get much of a breather, but honestly, K-State can't afford for them to be on the bench.
Yeah, they just provide so much offense. And especially Markquis Nowell, and talked about his scoring, but the way he makes his teammates better, and they able to find them in their spots, like he just hit Keontae Johnson right there for that three. You can't keep him off the court.
Now George, under 10 to shoot. Driving against Green, blocking foul. And that's number 3 on Green, the transfer from Stony Brook. And
that's
2 free throws.
Great take right there.
George says he picked Baylor because of how they play and how they have developed their guards over the years. George hits the first. And we'll see Keontae George in March, certainly, at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship in Kansas City, March 8th through the 11th, T-Mobile Center. Get your tickets now, big12sports.com/buy tickets. George picked Baylor over Kansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma State, and Texas. He's got 17 tonight, 3-point lead for K-State.
This is normally the time where they try to isolate Keontae and try to get him a bucket.
Whistle blows. And a foul against Langston Love. Oh, beg your pardon, it's on Ojon Wuna. Now, Keontae George, one of the highest ranked recruits in Baylor basketball history. McDonald's All-American. And maybe you can forget the qualifier, one of the top freshmen in the nation. He is becoming one of the top players in college basketball, regardless of class. Next foul by either team sends the other to the line. Nowell, tried to thread the needle. Instead, it's George with the steal. Numbers for Baylor. Bonner the layup, no, but a foul. And Bonner remains down. Nowell with the foul.
That's a great steal right there. Look at the steal. Keontae George being able to play the tagger. Good awareness, good heads up, and that's a great find to hit Dale Bonner in stride to draw a foul.
You saw right there the 2 underrated parts of George's game. The defense, like you have mentioned, and also his ability as a passer. He's not just a scorer.
Yeah, he's capable. And I was talking to an NBA scout before the game, and he asked me what position does he think Keontae is. And I said he's a 2. His scoring ability is no doubt he's a 2. But he can give you backup minutes at the 1 on the next level.
Yeah.
Because he's that level of passer and creator.
Baylor trailed by as many as 8 4 minutes ago. They are within 1 now after Dale Bonner's first points of the game. Tomlin driving at 6'10", and Tomlin muscles it home.
Yeah, right there, the ref had to either call the block or the charge. One of the two. When contact is made, you have to call the block or the charge. Right there, there's a no call. Coach Tang signifying it was a block, but you have to call something right there.
Instead, they swallowed the whistle. K-State by 3. George, tough drive, offensive foul. And that's his 3rd. Got to be careful there. The Baylor bench has already picked up a technical. And the pass is over Tomlin's head, out of bounds. One more look.
Let's take a look at this. From that angle, it's so hard to tell.
Right.
It looked like he hit his shoulder. Didn't really hit him square in the chest, but from that angle, it's really hard to tell.
Lohner for the tie. Tomlin can create at his size. Nowell slashing in. Loose ball picked up by Sills. Shot clock resets. The floater doesn't drop for Sills. Baylor with the rebound.
I like the sub right here. Get Adam Flagler back in the game. Get L.J. Cryer back in the game. You're relying really a lot. You're relying very heavily on Keontae George to create all your offense.
Love the pull up. No. And Johnson secures it for Kansas State. Baylor has not hit a shot from the floor in almost 3 minutes.
You have to slide over and help right now. Do not leave Ojonwuna on the island with Keontae.
Johnson takes the three over him and buries it. Keontae Johnson doubles the K-State lead.
And you have to be able to help right there. Tell Ojonwuna to press up. Do not leave him on the island. Because when you leave him on an island, this guy is way too good. He's too comfortable. You have to get him out of his comfort zone because Keontae Johnson, to simply put it, is a pro.
Three goggles from Keontae Johnson. '22 had the big three leading to the Baylor timeout, and Keontae George for Baylor with 17.
Yeah, battle of the Keontaes, and I think this right here shows why the game is the way it is, why Kansas State's up by 6. They're big two, 22 and 20. Right now, Baylor's top two guys, Adam Flagler, 9 points. Keontae, 17. So right now, Kansas State's big two is just being better than Baylor's big two, and that, to put it, is what the difference in the game is.
Yeah, Flo Thamba has given Baylor a season-high 11. Langston Love with 10, but Baylor enduring this drought, and Cryer is fouled before he laid it in. Johnson with the personal, his second, and it will lead to free throws with Baylor in the bonus. And a timeout called. 7:26 to go with K-State up by 6. Well, Jay Billis move over, forget 94 feet. King McClure goes 117 feet with Scott Drew and Jerome Tang in King's Court.
All right, Coach Tang, can you tell how many feet we got?
Yeah, this hallway is 117 feet. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Jay Billis does 94 feet.
Well, I'm one of the fortunate people who were able to play for both of these men. So we're going to stop right here. And Coach Tang, looking at the history on this wall, what does it mean for you to be back?
It's an honor to be back. It is a privilege to be a part of this incredible program, to work with Coach, and it means we have a lot of really good players. We get a lot of wins up there.
I don't know why I'm not on that wall. I know I have more wins than like TP and Rico, but it's okay. It's okay. Coach Drew, win a national championship, and you did it together. What did Coach Tang mean to get this?
Well, this wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Coach Tang. So one of my favorite pictures, us both having the nets on and being able to give God all the honor for it. So special.
Coach Tang, what is one thing about Coach Drew that not too many people know?
Coach, like when you ask Coach to do something, or he does it like immediately, like it's no mess around, like, it's just incredible, his follow-through and his follow-up, and how he gets it done, lets you know that it's taken care of.
I'm going to reverse that question. Coach Drew, what's one thing about Coach Tang not too many people know?
Well, when we first started recruiting, we had to stay together on the room, and not that that was a bad thing, but I have a noisemaker, and that's kind of funny, but he sings in the shower. That's not when he's singing, that's waking us up. No, does have a good voice, though.
Last question for you guys both, and answer this correctly. Who's your favorite player? Who's your favorite player you ever had to coach?
Hey, who's your favorite coach?
Yeah.
Well, listen.
That's 117 people.
Your face was priceless there. Scott Drew Tang asked you, yeah, who'd you like better? Come on now.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that one. I couldn't answer that one.
It has been an emotional day for both as they reunite here in Waco. And now with 7 minutes to go, it's Kansas State by 5. And Cam Carter just picked up his 4th personal for Kansas State. So 1-1 for Adam Flagler. He's got 9 points and 6 assists. Yeah, Jerome Tang on Scott Drew's staff for the last 19 years, helping build that culture of joy and also a culture of winning. Capping it off at the national championship a couple of years ago. Tang was the head coach at Heritage Christian High School in Cleveland, Texas, making $16,000 a year when Scott Drew hired him here at Baylor.
Wow. $16,000 a year. Wow.
C.J. Moore of The Athletic wrote a beautiful profile of Tang in the summer. Said that Tang scrounged up $10.81 for half a rack of ribs to serve to Drew when Drew visited his house to talk about the job. And now Tang is finally a head coach, and the results speak for themselves. Tomlin inside, no, Baylor the rebound. This has been a back and forth game all night. 16 lead changes, but Baylor has not led here in the second half. Thamba, no.
I didn't like that post up right there. That's not who Flo Thamba is.
Nowell to Tomlin on the break.
Hey, you have a bad possession right there by Baylor. Flo Thamba is not a post-up guy. Yes, he has Tomlin and Massoud on him, but he's not a post-up guy. He's more of a dump down. Not a great possession right there by Baylor.
Meanwhile, Nowell has 12 assists to go with 20 points. Flagler, the leaner, short.
All right, right now for Baylor, they just have to take pride on the defensive side. I mean, the ball really isn't falling the way they would like to see it right now. They have to take pride on this defensive side.
Tomlin fakes the three. Now he lets it go. It's an air ball. And out of bounds to Baylor. The Bears have not hit a shot, King, in the last 5.5 minutes. They're over their last 6.
And that's the difference between this year's team and the past 3 years' teams. If the ball's not falling for the other teams, they are going to get stops and make sure you're not scoring either. This year's team is not like that. So right now, this is the moment. What better moment to show that you can play defense than right now? Because you're in desperate need of a win. You cannot start the conference 0-3.
Thamba leaves it for Bridges, cutting down the baseline for 2. Nice pass from Flo Thamba.
That's a good play by Flo Thamba. Not getting too deep, not taking too many dribbles. One dribble, stop before they can take a charge on you or get their hands on the ball. Great play right there.
Keontae Johnson has 22 to lead all scorers. George fell down. Johnson couldn't hit. Flagler in transition for Baylor. The crossover against Nowell. What a finish by Flagler. 2-point game. Sills banks it in. K-State running after the make.
Now the past 2 possessions, I feel like the referees have to call something. There's contact down there. You either have to make a call, block or charge. Past 2 possessions, we've seen a lot of contact.
Keontae against Keontae. Now Flagler against Massoud. Firing. Good! Adam Flagler is money. 1-point game.
Adam Flagler is just so good. We saw in the Gonzaga game. Last 2 threes, Adam Flagler took the game over. Right now, he's starting to take this game over.
Nowell off the hands of Johnson. Good look for Massoud. Couldn't hit. Rebound Keontae George. And a hard spill with Nowell. The fouls against Nowell, his second. Timeout in Waco. Baylor desperate for their first Big 12 win, trying to avoid an 0-3 start.
Baylor's been down this whole game, but Adam Flagler is not going outside. My man is trying to change that and get Baylor their first win.
What could you want in this family reunion? Jerome Tang back in Waco to face off with Baylor. 1-point game, 3:25 left. Adam Flagler rising to the occasion.
Yeah, Ted, this is just one of those games where it doesn't matter what play you call, doesn't matter what you do as far as from a coaching perspective. Players have to make the plays. And right here, Adam Flagler making 2 big plays right there. That 3 into the shot clock. That just takes guts right there. It doesn't matter what you drop. That's just, I'm going to get a bucket and show you why I'm one of the best players in the Big 12. Players will decide this game. Doesn't matter the play call.
15 points and 6 assists for Flagler. Scott Drew told us last year, I remember before a game, in fact, against Kansas State, Adam Flagler is like our workhorse running back. He's like our Derrick Henry. We rely on him so much as a scorer, as a playmaker, and as a voice on defense.
He has to be that. Because right now, Keontae George is an elite scorer, but he's a freshman. And you can't rely on freshmen because they have so many times where they're up and they're down. Now, Keontae's had a lot of times where he's been up this season, but he will have games where he's down because he's a freshman, he's new to this. So Flagler has to be that guy because L.J. Cryer needs to be better. He needs to be a little bit more consistent, but Adam Flagler has to be that guy for this team.
And Keontae George has given Baylor its first lead since it was 47-45 near the end of the first half. Johnson wants it against Cryer. Carter the drive.
This is normally the time you'll see an isolation for Keontae Johnson.
Nowell blocked out of bounds, but 7 to shoot. It'll stay with Kansas State.
If I'm Coach Tang right now, isolate Keontae Johnson on the elbow. He loves it in that mid-post area, that elbow area. Give him the ball. Get your best player the ball, your best scorer the ball in an area where he can succeed.
Baseline out of bounds was Jerome Tang's specialty when he coached with Scott Drew. Trying to draw something up here. Nowell, a beauty. Perfectly done. Johnson to Nowell on the out of bounds.
That's just too easy. Game on the line. Last 3 minutes. You can't give up an easy layup like that.
Flagler gives it up. Guarded by Massoud. Will it take him off the bounce? Flagler, the floater. No. George, offensive rebound, lost it. Johnson took it away. Nowell ahead to Naquan Tomlin, who blew the dunk. But forget about it. Contact before. And a foul on Cryer.
This right here is just too easy. Get a layup. You have them down, gets a layup. That's just too easy.
Yeah, Jerome Tang, you said it at shoot-around, King. This is what he did installing that baseline out-of-bounds playbook.
Yeah, the baseline defense that Baylor runs, they don't really run a typical man-to-man. They try to trap you, try to get you to throw passes in the corner, try to basically bait you into doing what they want you to do on the offensive end. He put in the defense, so nobody knows how to go against it, how to score on it better than Coach Tang.
They're hoping to add to that number here with Nowell at the line. So again, the foul was on Cryer against Nowell before he delivered the pass to Tomlin. And Nowell puts Kansas State up by 3. 2.5 to go in Waco. K-State picked to finish last in the league at 2-0. Baylor picked to win the league again at 0-2. Flagler against the bigger Tomlin. Will he try to break him down? Under 10 to shoot. Now it's George against Tomlin. Keontae George swatted by Naquan Tomlin. What a defensive play.
That's why NBA scouts love Naquan Tomlin. Because not only that's a travel, Not only is he good offensively, defensively, he can stay on the perimeter with guards. Let's take a look at this right there, the length. He's going against one of the best scorers in the country. Naquan Tomlin can sit down. You can't isolate this guy. He is too long. NBA scouts are drooling over this.
Now, he spent the last 4 years at the junior college level and did not play organized basketball in high school in New York. Now it's Flagler who got the step on Tomlin to lay it in. Baylor down 1.
And as soon as I say something, Naquan Tomlin gets scored on.
Yep. Under 90 seconds. Sills. Johnson on the cut. Johnson lost it. And a timeout for Kansas State. Johnson was surrounded, but the timeout granted with 1:16 to go. So Kansas State up by 1, looking for their first 3-0 start in a dozen years. Ted Emmerich, King McClory here courtside. This is the Big 12. Just about every game now goes down to the wire. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Like every single game, it's like an NCAA tournament game with the level of competition in this league.
It's just so competitive. Every game is a dog fight. You know you have to bring your A game. And sometimes, like Texas, they brought their A game. They scored 103 points, and you can still lose. That is how good this league is. When you look at the metrics, every single team is a top 50 team in the country.
What's this game going to come down to? 1:16 left.
I think this play right here is going to be huge. It's underneath out of bounds. It's going to be huge. 11 seconds on the shot clock. The way that Coach Tang and Coach Drew views underneath out of bounds situations is like special teams in football. That's literally how they describe it. They care about this more than anything. So right now, don't be surprised if Coach Drew tries to trick Coach Tang, change his defense, because Coach Tang knows what's coming. And Coach Tang already knows he's going to draw up something very fancy and very tricky to try to get Coach Drew. Two minds who know each other so well are trying to get the best of one another. It's literally a chess game right now.
Side by side for the last 19 years, and now on opposite benches and matching wits. Kansas State ball, 11 on the shot clock, and a 1-point lead for the Wildcats. Again, the last time they were in this situation, Markquis Nowell was able to cut past his man. Keontae Johnson hit him for the layup. What happens here? And it's like you said, with football, almost you go play action off that, fake something with Nowell. This time it'll be Desi Sills to inbound.
Yeah, watch the slips. I know Coach Tang emphasized that in the shoot-around, that Baylor does not guard the slips well. So watch the slips on this play.
Johnson and Nowell available as targets. Underneath Johnson. Again, it just appears to be too easy for Kansas State.
That's exactly what happened. Johnson set the screen and slipped. You have to watch the slips. Coach Tang said in the shoot-around, Baylor does not do a great job of guarding that.
Carter poked it away from Cryer. Still Baylor ball. 1 minute to go. How about Jerome Tang? 2 terrific baseline out-of-bounds plays that he drew up, and his team executed it to perfection.
Yeah, one thing we did at Baylor when I was there, we spent so much time on underneath out of bounds, and I thought it was crazy. But when they described it as special teams, you know, special teams can win you or lose you a game. And today in shoot-around, Coach Tang spent at least 20 minutes on underneath out-of-bounds plays.
Flagler missed the 3. Foul's going to go against Nowell as George came up at the offensive rebound. So George to the line with 42 seconds left. So Nowell with his 3rd personal. And 2 free throws for George, who is 9 of 12 at the line tonight. He leads Baylor with 19 points. And he missed the first. George splits the pair. 2-point game and a timeout. Now, Jerome Tang played a part in Keontae George's recruitment to Baylor. And now on the opposite side. So Kansas State by 2 with the ball, 42.2 left.
And this is the time, knowing Coach Tang, knowing how he thinks, he wants to get the ball to his best player. He knows that this game will be determined by the players. No matter what play call he calls, this will be determined by players just making plays. Markquis Nowell has been great. Well, you can put Markquis Nowell in a ball screen situation, let him create, or I'm a big fan of putting Keontae Johnson at the elbow, letting him go one-on-one and isolate because he is so money right there. But for Baylor, you just have to take pride in it right now. Your defense hasn't been great. Take pride in it and step up and get a stop.
Johnson and Nowell, both front runners for Big 12 Player of the Year here early in the season. They combined for 64 points against Texas. They've combined for 48 tonight. Baylor applying pressure. 42 seconds left. Into Nowell. Flagler poked it away, but a foul.
I don't like the aggressiveness right there. I don't think you had to foul. I don't think you had to be aggressive. I think you could just play that one out and get a stop. You had enough time on the shot clock to sit back, get the stop, but instead you try to be aggressive. Now you're putting Markquis Nowell, who is an elite free throw shooter. Look at this right here. Overly aggressive, no need for it. He catches the ball, back up, get a stop. Trusting your defense, but now you're putting one of the best free throw shooters in America on the free throw line. I just don't like the aggressiveness right there.
6 for 6 tonight. He's 4th in the Big 12 at 86%. 1-1, and Nowell will get a second. 25 points and 13 assists for Markquis Nowell, who a couple of years ago was at Little Rock. 4-point lead.
Now it's a 2-possession game. You have to go. You don't necessarily need a 3. Get the best available shot, but you have to go quick.
Flagler draws the foul. And that should be number 4 on Naquan Tomlin. I go back to the technical foul and the 4-point swing there early in the half.
Yeah, plays like that can determine games, especially in a league where we often say it's a one possession or one possession league.
Flagler hits the first. He's got 18. The 5th-year senior makes it a 2-point game.
Right now, if you're Baylor, you don't have to foul immediately. Go for the steal. You can maybe let them throw one pass, try to get a trap, but foul right after that. You cannot let more than 6 or 7 seconds come off the shot clock.
How about Kansas State going 4 wide here? Baylor has done this plenty of times with Scott Drew. Jerome Tang certainly a part of that. Johnson gets it into Sills, and the foul. 32.1 left.
At Baylor, my year, Coach Drew put that play in. He calls it football because there's a passer, and everybody else just has to go run a route. Coach Tang took that with him to Kansas State. It's a great play. It's really hard to stop. You always have success inbounding the ball.
All of a sudden, you're turning into a defensive back. You got to backpedal and follow them down the floor, and your inbounder is just finding the first available target. Desi Sills' first trip to the line tonight. Sills with 3 points now, the 6th man for K-State. And the lefty goes 1 for 2. 3-point game, under 30 seconds. Here comes Flagler. Out to Jalen Bridges for the triple. Jalen Bridges is an assassin. We are tied at 86.
Hasn't shot the ball well, but Coach Drew and his staff has told Jalen Bridges, you must keep shooting because you will find it. Last year at West Virginia, he shot the ball extremely well. It was all about confidence. Right there, the coaching staff has instilled confidence in him, even though he has missed shots this year and has not shot to the level where they know he can shoot at. This is confidence to take the shot in this big of a moment. Credit to Coach Drew and his staff for putting that in him and not telling him to drop his head, but telling him to keep shooting the basketball.
And K-State understands, hey, Adam Flagler could very well take this shot, but to set it up in the corner like that and for Bridges to get a look, you have to have that confidence to take the next one. He did, and now we're tied.
Yeah, everybody knew right there. Flagler, the ball's in Flagler's hands. I know he's looking to score. K-State thought he's scoring or Keontae is scoring. But Adam Flagler, the unselfishness, this is where he got better at. His ability to be able to make plays. He didn't try to force a shot like most good scorers would have done in that moment. He kicked it to the open man. That is a great play from Flagler. That's great leadership, believing in his teammate.
So K-State at the timeout, 12.2 left, tie game. We asked Jerome Tang at shoot-around, so who takes the final shot in this situation? Is it Markquis Nowell? Is it Keontae Johnson? He said, I'm blessed with options. It's just however the defense plays us.
Listen, I keep saying it. I'm a big believer in putting Keontae George in isolation and letting him go get a bucket. He is so hard to guard. And he's great at drawing fouls and using his body to shield off the defense. I'm putting Keontae Johnson in space.
And Johnson had a bucket in that situation in isolation from the elbow last Saturday against West Virginia near the end of regulation. Johnson to inbound here. They added 0.7 of a second, 12.9. Tie game in Waco. Into Carter. Guarded by Cryer, and now Nowell, who's got 13 assists tonight. 5 seconds. Nowell against Bonner. Markquis Nowell, the floater. No! Johnson can't follow. And we're off to overtime. Nowell.
Tomlin, the way he's been playing, the way he's been defending, he cannot sit on this bench.
Second straight Saturday, Kansas State has gone to overtime. They beat West Virginia at home on New Year's Eve. Baylor has the ball first to start overtime.
This is the time where your stars have to be your stars. Your best players have to get it done in this moment. Clear it out in ISO right there. You have to ISO this matchup.
Against Abayomi Iola, Flagler takes him on the drive. Couldn't scoop it in with the left. Nowell has his 5th double-double, points and assists this year. Johnson launches over Cryer, hit the side of the backboard. LJ Cryer has been awfully quiet, just 4 points on 1 of 5 shooting.
You know, for Keontae Johnson to be such a great scorer, the one thing that he doesn't do, that you don't see him do much, is force shots. Right there is probably the first forced shot we've seen all night by him.
8 to shoot. George made his move, and a foul against Kansas State. And for Iola, that's his 4th. So George back to the line, where he's 10 of 14 tonight. And 85% on the year. Baylor on top.
I like this sub right here. This is a great sub from Coach Tang. In a game like this, you have to have great perimeter defenders, especially right now. You want to switch everything and make Baylor play one-on-one and try to stay in front of them and force them to finish over length. So I like Massoud. Massoud's a better defender than Bebe is on the perimeter.
Season high for free throws made for Keontae George. 12 on the night, 22 points in the game. Baylor up by 2. Nowell downhill around Thamba. Carter for 3. George the rebound.
I like that
Baylor
right there.
take its time.
I like that right there. Keontae George, freshman in this moment, gets the rebound, calms it down, gets the ball to Adam Flagler, the playmaker, the veteran, trusting in his veteran.
And back to the freshman, George. Oh, trying to find Flagler. Carter the tip. That was deflected. No over and back. Here comes Flagler. 3 to shoot. Flagler from NBA range. Bridges with an offensive rebound. And a fresh 20 for Baylor. Nearing the 3-minute mark in overtime. George launching over Carter. Offline. Thomba, offensive rebound. And a foul on Naquan Tomlin, who has fouled out.
Baylor got bailed out right there. Keontae George, as a freshman, that's just not the shot you want to take. Looks like you were off balance, that you can get a better look than that. But because Baylor is so great on the offensive glass, they got bailed out. I think you can get a better look than that. Tried to flop a little bit and fake the foul, but Flo Thomba, being the fifth-year senior, being that veteran leader, he bailed him out.
So Tomlin done with 9 points and 8 rebounds. And Kansas State already thin up front because of the injury to David Gasson. So this is an extra small lineup on the floor for Kansas State with Ismael Massoud as the only big, and he really floats on along the perimeter.
He's not even a big.
Yeah.
So Ted, with this lineup specifically, look for Flo Thomba and Jalen Bridges to be ultra aggressive on the offensive glass. They have to be.
Thomba with his first miss at the line tonight. He was 3 for his first 3. 8 the second. 3-point lead for the 19th ranked Bears in overtime here in Waco. Johnson guarded by Bridges. Has to pick up the dribble.
Great help defense. Cannot allow him to play one-on-one.
Nowell guarded by the freshman George. Out to Sills. Nowell the sidestep. 3-ball. Rebound Flagler. But a foul.
I have to say, that might have been the best defensive possession from Baylor all game long. They just have to finish with the rebound. But the way that they were able to move, help each other out, Keontae George's ability to guard and hit, stay in front of Markquis Nowell, that was probably the best possession. Look at this right here. Keontae George, that's great defense. Doesn't get blown by, makes him pick up his dribble. That was impressive. That's the best defensive possession Baylor has had all night. They just didn't finish it off with a rebound.
King, that's the defense that Scott Drew was talking about at shoot-around. Like
yes.
The effort not being good enough. There's the effort in overtime of a physically and emotionally draining game.
And that level of effort, that type of defense, is what you saw in the national championship team. You saw that every single possession. And if it wasn't every single possession, they might have taken 1 or 2 plays off. But for 95% of the game, you saw that with the national championship team. That's the level Coach Drew is trying to get this Baylor team to play for 40 minutes.
Massoud brings K-State to within a point. 2:15 to go. Flagler against Iola, who has 4 personals. Flagler rising up, and he hits. Adam Flagler has come alive in the second half in overtime.
That's the strategy. Draw the big fella, draw Bebe outside the perimeter, and make him guard our elite guards.
21 for Flagler to go with 7 assists. Sills back to Nowell in the corner against Bridges, and a foul. Bridges reaching in. That's his 4th. He says, I got all ball. Said he picked up his 4th personal.
Now look at this. This is just a heads-up play. Markquis Nowell is so smart. He saw Bridges. He kind of had him, put his hand in the cookie jar, went right up. That's just such a smart play for Markquis Nowell. He is such a smart basketball player.
Create the contact.
Create the contact. Keontae George does a great job of this. creating contact when there's no contact to be created.
And Nowell was fouled in the act of shooting, the officials ruled, outside the arc. 3 free throws here and a chance to tie the game. And Nowell does just that. Perfect at the line tonight. 91 all. George to a cutting Flagler. To the corner. Bridges, can he do it again? No. And a foul inside against Kansas State. It'll be on Johnson, his third. Flagler to Bridges in the corner, which sent us to overtime. Just could not make it here. So beg your pardon, the foul actually goes against Markquis Nowell. And Thamba's at the line. Baylor back in front with 1:30 to go. So the updated foul situation for K-State. Naquan Tomlin fouling out earlier here in overtime. Iola, Carter, and Nowell all with 4. Flo Thamba, the self-described old head of the team. The 5th-year senior puts Baylor up by 2. Screen from Johnson. Nowell turning the corner. Floater.
Oh, wow.
Drops in. Hung on the rim forever.
Markquis Nowell is just so impressive. I've been so impressed with this young man the past 3 games.
5'8", 160 pounds. Come on. And doing it on the biggest stage in college basketball in the Big 12. Flagler against Massoud. Late in the shot clock, Adam Flagler carves his way to the basket for an answer. Baylor back in front. Timeout with 46.5 to play. Keontae George is telling Adam Flagler, no one can guard you.
Yeah, this is just a game where the players have to make the plays. And the stars are being stars tonight. Isolation basketball. One-on-one, you have to be able to stop me. Markquis Nowell putting on a show. Adam Flagler putting on a show. These 2 guys have absolutely taken over this game.
So K-State with the ball. Down by 2, 46.5 seconds remaining. Nowell with 31, back-to-back 30-point games now for the point guard. Keontae Johnson with 24. Can Baylor find that defensive intensity like they had on that one possession you noted earlier?
Yeah, they had their best defensive possession when we mentioned it, and that's the level where I know Coach Drew in the huddle, we have to get this stop. You have to be able to get the stop and play that same level that we saw earlier. Will Baylor go out there and do it?
And it's not rocket science here, right, for K-State. Nowell, ball screen. Keontae Johnson, perhaps isolation. But Nowell getting downhill is just so tough to handle as quick as he is.
And I like this sub right here. Dale Bonner in the game to guard Markquis Nowell. Dale Bonner offensively has not really found his stride this year in conference, but defensively he's one of the best perimeter defenders. Coach Drew doing the offense-defense sub for him and Keontae George.
And Bonner is on the ball against Markquis Nowell. Screen from Massoud. Nowell again turning the corner. Massoud launches. 3-ball. Pure. Ish Massoud puts Kansas State on top. 31.6 to go. Ice in the veins of Ismael Massoud.
Wow. This was set up perfectly. But if you look, Markquis Nowell places this ball right in Ish Massoud's pocket. So Massoud didn't have to alter it or anything. He can go straight up into his shot. Didn't have to adjust. That is the luxury of having a great passer as a point guard. because the ball hits you right in your pocket and you can go straight up. You don't have to adjust. That's what Markquis Nowell does. That is how good he is, and that was a great shot from Ismael Massoud.
A player whose minutes have been cut significantly this year, going from Bruce Weber last year in his first year with the program to Jerome Tang this year. Tang has told him, just be ready. He was ready in the biggest moment.
And when you look at the team they had last year, Ismael Massoud was on the perimeter more. This year, he's setting screens. He's being used as more of a 4 and a hybrid 5. So his ability to be able to adjust and accept his role and buy into what Coach Tang is preaching and what he's trying to get him to do, that's impressive. It speaks to the testament of him as a young man.
Keontae George back on the floor for Baylor. Just a slight difference between the clocks here at the end of the first overtime. Baylor down by a point. Can Flagler create again? Guarded by Cam Carter. Bridges with the screen. Flagler ran into the double from Massoud. Out of bounds to Kansas State. The officials will take a look. 6.1 to go.
So right there, we saw it early, and to get into overtime, Adam Flagler made the pass to Jalen Bridges. Right there in this possession, I think he should have given it up. He should have gave it up 2 dribbles ago because Jalen Bridges is wide open. And does Jalen Bridges have to shoot the 3? No. But he can go create. He can get downhill and make the right play. We saw him trust his teammate in regulation. But in overtime right there, a little too much dribbling from Adam Flagler. Has to be able to get rid of that basketball.
And here in the final seconds of overtime, of course, the officials can take a second look. Was it truly off Flagler? Yeah.
Look how open Jalen Bridges is. If you throw the ball to Jalen Bridges right now, it becomes a 2-on-1. Keontae Johnson has to decide, do I step up or do I stay down with Flo Thamba? Adam Flagler has to deliver this pass right here.
I think Flagler's the last one to touch it here, King.
Yeah. It looks like the ball is off Flagler.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a great teaching moment, though. Next time he's in this scenario, he did it in regulation, so they know he can do it. Next time in this scenario, you have to kick that one. And now you have to play disadvantaged basketball and trust your teammates. That's what it comes down to. Trusting your teammates. You have 2 on you, somebody's open.
John Higgins and his crew taking the long look just to make sure. Here's the other angle. I think the other angle, the reverse side, told the story. But I do think Flagler is the last one to touch it here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Flagler dribbles this one out of bounds.
You see it right there. Massoud did deflect it, but Flagler's, he was trying to save it. His fingertips, the last one to touch it. And the officials will also take a look here just to make sure they have the proper time on the clock. 6.1 at the moment. Jerome Tang back in Waco, where he took Baylor, along with Scott Drew, from bottom feeder to national champion. Check out the clock here. Flagler, last one to touch it, and out of bounds. Maybe put a few more ticks. No, just 1/10 of a second. So 6.2, Kansas State ball. Baylor's got a foul here.
Hey, you have to foul, no question.
Johnson to inbound. Looking for Nowell, and there's the foul. 5.3.
That's a very smart play. Get the ball to your best free throw shooter. A guy who hasn't missed a free throw all night. Get the ball to Markquis Nowell.
Nowell top 5 in the conference in free throw shooting and perfect tonight. 11 for 11. Yeah, Baylor really hopes that this guy can make this 56 or even 57 after Nowell's trip to the line. Can't do it there. 2-point lead and a chance to make it a 3-point game. Baylor does have a timeout remaining. Jerome Tang told us earlier today he would foul up 3. Nowell misses. Moot point. Down by 2. Caleb Lohner off the mark. And Kansas State wins it in overtime. Jerome Tang wins his homecoming against his good friend Scott Drew. And K-State is